Good morning, Plant Fam, and happy Thursday. It is December 31st, 2020, going into the new year. It is currently New Year's Eve, and it is a little cold in here. It is 71% humidity here, and it is 68%, not 68%. It is 68 degrees Fahrenheit indoors. So this is gonna be my first documentation of the Variegated Fiddle leaf fig. This is gonna be my first, I would say, documentation on YouTube. I've done multiple documentations on Instagram, but I guess I would rather have this as a bookmark kind of thing for everyone who has a variegated fiddle leaf fig or is interested in a variegated fiddle leaf fig who does not have Instagram to easily locate this video. Just because I've been stressing out with it, I've been struggling with it, and I know how stressful it is just to fork up a few $100s for a plant that they really love, and all of a sudden it dies. I personally got this plant for $700. I bought it from a reseller who is local, about an hour away. So I live in San Jose, California, and the person lives in San Francisco, California. They previously got this plant from someone on the East Coast, and I believe they've had it only since June. So June 5th, they got it and repotted it themselves. July 24th of this year is when I actually bought it and brought it home. And ever since then, it has been a crazy roller coaster with this plant, just because there's been tons of new growth and tons of, I would say, observations with this plant. So the disclosure is this is just my documentation, my experimentation, and what I've observed with this fiddle leaf fig, and what I pretty much done in my care of how to physically care for this plant. And this may help you, I'm not too sure, but for me it has helped me, just doing research on my own, asking people like, hey, how did you get this or that? And they don't know either. They share their stories with me and I could come up with some kind of conclusion to it. But I would say that this would be the first video out there to show how to care for a variegated fiddle leaf fig with some success to it. So when I first brought this home, July 24th of this year, 2020, it had a lot more leaves and they looked really nice. So I'm going to show you a little picture. So this is me with my variegated fiddle leaf fig. This is what it came home as. The main trunk was curved out and it had 4 large leaves on there, and it had only 1 bud on there to show new growth, and that's what sold me. I've been looking for this for a variegated fiddle leaf fig for almost 5 to 6 years, and I finally found one, and I just had to fork up whatever I had at the time. It is COVID times, and I ended up forking up, I believe, $700 for this plant, which is outrageous, but it is pretty much hard to find a plant that is this in the United States that is not being sold overseas and had positive growth and health to it. So I was able to bring it home. I straightened it out and I put it in with the rest of my plants in a bright ambient corner right next to the humidifier, and I let it thoroughly dry out before watering it. That was my very first mistake. I should have put it next to a brighter area, just because they do have a small percentage of chlorophyll in them, which is the green pigmentation or the green cells, and compared to a normal fiddle leaf fig, they have a lot of chlorophyll. So if you think about it, this guy, or all these guys right here, I'm not trying to brag, but all these guys right here, they have less chlorophyll than their regular, the normal ones. So this Monstera has less chlorophyll compared to that Monstera. This fiddle leaf fig has less chlorophyll compared to this fiddle leaf fig. And so on and so forth. So what you need to do is provide a lot of bright light for it, probably more than what the original plant would have if they didn't have any messed up chromosomes or whatnot. So that was my big mistake. I ended up putting it in a bright ambient area and waited to water it when it was fully dry. When it was fully dry, I watered it, and the next day it started to show brown edges on the tips of it. And as you can see right there, those little brown bruisings right there, they ended up crisping over a week. So like I said, I waited 3 or 4 weeks. And here you go. This is August 24th. Literally a month after having it. I watered it the week before this photo, and it started to crisp up. And so I ended up shoving this guy into a south-facing window. It received a lot of bright, direct light for about, I would say, 7 hours a day, and it stopped crisping. It stayed like that for a very long time, and no further growth of that crisping occurred. So that was actually a good sign of it. And the new growth didn't really continue to grow. The bud never budged at all, and I thought it was just stunted until I realized that I've neglected to fertilize it. A fertilizer out there that I personally highly recommend is this one. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $20 a bottle, but it says to use 1 teaspoon for every 2 cups of water that you use. And you can use this like pretty much anytime you water, and it's super healthy and super safe, I guess. That's what they recommend. And I've been using that ever since November, I would say. Let me see. Yes, I've been using that ever since November, and it's December, and I have 6 new leaves at the top. So the things I have changed in the care of this variegated fiddle leaf fig was I no longer have it at the south facing window. I now have it under a Soltech light. And I used to have it at least a foot above the fiddle leaf fig because I thought that it needed a lot more light, a lot more direct light spotted onto it. But over time, it started to tell me, hey, like, I don't like this light. And as you can see, within the past 3 weeks, this sunburn started to form on this leaf, and I had to take back the light at least another foot. So now it is 2 feet above the canopy of the plant, and the newer leaves that have developed this past 2 weeks have not shown that sunburn yet. These guys are actually a little bit deformed, just because I repotted it during that time of it getting sunburn. I did not know this was how the sunburn looked like on a variegated fiddle leaf fig. I have sunburns on my regular fiddle. Let me see if I can fully find one here. This is a sunburn that I got last year. I never chopped it off because I want to reference it whenever I do get a sunburn. This was just moving it 2 feet over from a south-facing window because I needed a Christmas tree last year and it got sunburned, and that was simply just moving it over 2 feet. And that's crazy how a sunburn can occur. But that is pretty much a sunburn. And so I didn't know at the time of 2 weeks ago. So I repotted it right away into a larger pot and moved up the Soltech light at least another foot. And so this is about 2 feet right here. And as you can feel, well, you can't feel anything, but I could feel the heat transfer. So there's a lot of heat right here, and it's a little bit warmer, and it's a little bit cooler here, but there is still some heat transfer onto the leaf right here, but it's not as intense as it used to be right here. This one, I would say it's very intense. Actually, I have a moisture meter that has a pH scale and a light meter. Let's see this out. So as you can see, this is the canopy of the top of the leaf where the fiddle is, and let's bring it all the way up. I don't know if I could see it. Yeah, as you can see, it was bright direct light, and this is literally a foot away. And I brought it down at least another foot, and it's pretty much good lighting. I don't know how to read this as well, but all I know is there is a big difference between here and here, and you can test that with your hand, and you can see that with actual context clues. But after repotting it, these leaves fully formed, and as you can see, they didn't fully develop, and that was because they became stunted when I repotted it. But this week, these two leaves started to form, and it's amazing because that was very fast. So let me see if I have any photos or figure out when. So these guys right here, this one and this one started to form last month, and this is how it looked like. As you can see, there is that red edema on there, and that is due to the cells bursting from absorbing too much water at one time, but that did go away over time. And then all these sunburns started to form, and after moving it up one more foot, the sunburns did not hurt the newer leaves here, but the edema did show up a little bit more, and that's perfectly fine because it is new growth and you do need water for new growth. But yeah, that's pretty much it. When watering, I do use this, just as a reminder. I've been using this, and I started to get super thrive. I just started using this at least last week, I would say, and I put it in a spray bottle, at least 2 drops in a spray bottle, and I just missed it. That's it. I just missed all the plants, honestly. But other than that, it's been doing really well. I keep everything constant. I keep the humidity the same, and I do not have the heater on. The room warms up when the sun's in, the room cools down when the sun's gone. But that's pretty much it. That's my care and my observation and my documentation of my variegated fiddle fig, and I will continue to post about it, and hopefully this video makes it to YouTube. If not, then it's for my own purpose. I just gotta figure out how to transfer it because I'm too lazy to transfer it into my computer to transfer it into YouTube. So yeah, Happy New Year. I hope to upload this and have more documentation on this variegated fiddle fig. So yeah, bye.